Hello and welcome to SBC News Tonight. Tonight we are joined by the Honourable Lashnaki, Deputy Prime Minister of Force. Hello Lashnaki. You join us live in the studio. Hello. How are you today? So awkward. Now, as you know, you ran against a chariot. The public have not seen the speaker votes yet, and not many people know it. And we were... Apparently, Renegal has a fit about us adding extra reactions. Interesting. Now, you know, Sir Sword BJ, the foreign policy advisor and also newly elected House Representative. Oh, and congratulations to everyone that was elected, even though it's a bit late. Yeah. Sir Sword BJ passed a bill. It's trying to pass a bill that will stop people in the government defacing force. What is your opinion on the bill? Well, I would agree that malfeasance could count towards it, but as you know, the Constitution, it can be vague in the legal sections, which, you know, and I mean, I would mean I'd be supportive of, you know, fixing bills to fix that problem. So you would say this is as a political move too against the former speaker? As you know, you proposed a bill after getting elected, which has stopped the founder made the founder politically neutral. What made you propose this bill?
Well, first of all, as displayed in this section of the below where it's authored, it was partly due to Renegal, and he partly wanted something like that in place. So, and it's also when he was previously chair of the Imperial Party, and if you imagine it, I think that gives our party an unfair advantage. We already have huge numbers, and the fact is, the founder is partly influencing electoral vote there, and is partly influencing parties there. And I think we want parties that aren't exactly influenced with by the founder,
Yeah.
and we want more. We want a more what's the word? We want more political parties, and we want more competitiveness. And I think the founder in being one is giving an unfair advantage.
Would you be supportive of, say, the forced creation of, say, political parties like other regions have done, such as the NWE, to try and improve party participation across force?
So that would be where parties are already there, set
Already
up.
there and are encouraged you to join.
Um, yes, I think they should also be able to make their own. But yes, I think it would be I think it would be a good start. I think it would encourage more participation, and it wouldn't make you have to bother to go to the make you have to go to the bother of creating one. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't be able to do that. I'm fine with that, but I would be in favour of that. Yes.
Would you be in favour of political party requirements to give them legal presence, to stop them from doing certain activities that may be seen as illegal or untrustworthy to the public, such as releasing information to the public of what they're doing?
Could you give me a more substantial example?
Well, see, especially in the UK, well, and across many places, a lot of parties have, the Electoral Commission.
Yes.
I'm saying, do you think political parties should be bound to certain set rules just for political parties?
So the state should bound them to specifically set rules, or you think a commission should?
I mean, personally, I would support an independent commission to prevent government bias against a party, in case, and not saying that anyone in government would be biased. I'm just
No, but
saying, in case of the
um,
future.
there's obviously, as you've seen, um, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a little problem with having an electoral commission. If the only job of the electoral commission measuring voter fraud and was just measuring the political parties, I think that would be fine. But the previously proposed ones have also been trying to measure voter fraud, and there's a problem with age there.
Yeah.
Um, being bound to a slightly independent commission and giving set rules to political parties, I don't see a problem with. There may be counter arguments after this, and I'm welcome to take arguments. I've not thought it through properly, but I don't see any problem with this as of now.
Aye. Interesting. The Chariot has proposed a bill today that is called the Seclusion of the Court. Basically, redefining what the prosecutor does and Article F, what subclause of 3.1 of Article F is thing, and crossing out Article J and Article F 1.2.1. What is your opinion on this?
I haven't been able to quite read through it substantially. It's something I'd like, as the Speaker of the House, to have up for debate because it's a constitutional amendment, and that's something that's a big deal and needs to be up for debate for a while. I haven't read it thoroughly. I do know that judicial reform has been needed for a while, but I haven't quite read it thoroughly. I plan to read it later, thoroughly, and then I'll quite happily give my opinion to SBC then.
Interesting.
It's always interesting, isn't it?
Yes, you proposed a bill called debate procedures, which you have been mentioning.
Yes.
You'd like debate periods. What makes you feel there should be debate periods apart from the obvious? What else would make you feel that people need to debate?
First of all, it's not a bill; it's a House resolution, which means it doesn't require signature from the Prime Minister or the founder.
Yeah.
And it's more of a procedural sort of resolution. So My problem with the current system is if you second it immediately, it can immediately go to the floor without any debate, which is a big problem, partly because of the recent bill that Sir Saul BJ proposed. It passed the House, but there were revealings about it. There was things that were revealed about it later, which would basically violate the Constitution and contradict it. So
Yeah.
I think that's a good example of why we need to get rid of seconding immediately, maybe after 24 hours after a debate period. But I don't think it should be required immediately, and it's necessary for the House to debate things like this so they know the actual meaning.
Interesting. you, you okay? That's fine. Now, let me think. You have you were previously prime minister. So you're the current incumbent deputy prime minister and was a former prime minister. Do you have what is your opinion on the current administration under Sir Libertatis Regalis?
Um, I think Libertatis Regalis is an extremely qualified candidate, having served. Is it 4 terms? Could you correct me on that? Is it 4 terms
Well,
previously?
this will be his fourth term, yes.
This will be his fourth term. Okay, thank you. He's an extremely qualified candidate, obviously. He's served in offices before Prime Minister. He was an extremely successful speaker. Much of the current administration, ministers, cabinet ministers, are previously part of my administration, which was, I would argue, an extremely successful administration, which got things done and was constantly active. So the fact that that was retained was very good. There's obviously been a little bit of a little less activity during the summer, which is normal. But I think overall the current administration is working well. Yes.
Um, Past laws. Uh, we know you appointed the Chariot as your deputy. Why did you appoint the Chariot as your deputy?
I appointed my chariot as my deputy to what
To the
exactly?
as deputy speaker.
Well, it was a fairly. I'd seen him. He was previously deputy speaker. I didn't see any reason to change that. He'd done a good job when he was deputy speaker, filling in for the previous speaker. So I didn't, and he's an extremely qualified candidate, having been an excellent Minister of Defence and an active member of Force. So I didn't see any reason not to appoint him.
Do you have any qualms with any of the incumbent ministers?
So that's ministers.
Yeah.
Not really. I think sometimes maybe the Minister of Foreign Affairs is a bit silly outside the cabinet, but overall he knows what he's doing. He knows what his job is, and he's good at it. So I don't have really any qualms with any of the current ministers. They were all my appointees, and I'm pleased with how they've done so far.
I have a question in from New Lakeland. He's asked if you joined in the Democratic Union of Free States Discord.
I think I have. I can double check that for you if you want.
Yes.
I have.
Amazing. Thank you. Sorry, this is just, it was for New Lakeland's benefit, not, us, obviously. Alright, because we're more prepared.
I mean, he could have just asked me in the correct channel, but it's a nice
I
way
mean,
of doing it.
he had to publicise that across, the entirety of the
yes,
media.
of course, yeah. Indeed. Next question.
That is the hoot. I'm sorry. Rendigo made a comment on the thing. It was hoot or not to hoot. That is the question.
Next question.
Right. Sorry. Um, we know you're running as an Imperial Party candidate versus Bloomberg. I mean, thanks. What is your opinion on the current What is your opinion on your opposition candidate?
So he's been in for slightly less time than me. He's only been in 3-4 months. But in those 3-4 months, he's been an extremely successful Minister of Culture. He's run his ministry extremely effectively. He's already gained a fair bit of influence, and he's a helpful person to have around in the cabinet and an excellent cabinet member. Yeah, I don't really have any further to say about him than that. I wish him good luck in the primaries, and I expect a successful future for him.
Interesting. Let me think. What would you say? Do you think there is any with the current previous administration of the House, of which there was an emergency election called? Would you have said there's been improved since then, the House?
Since the emergency elections.
Yes, after it was saying.
Absolutely. You've seen a lot of qualified. There was actually a lot of people finding it quite difficult who to vote for because there was a load of qualified candidates. It's certainly been more active. There have been more bills proposed pretty much already, and you've got people knowing what they're doing, and you're getting professional bills being proposed. So yes, I think it has absolutely improved.
It appears in the studio we've been joined by Renegal in the VC. Fantastic. Anyway, who said he wouldn't vote for you because you disregarded citizens' questions.
Wow, that's just rude. I don't.
Well, we can move over to a joint interview then, or we can do forced questions. It's up to you two.
What was the one we had prepared?
Forced questions.
We'll do forced questions. Why not?
Well,
if Renegal's happy with that.
Oh yes. Well, can you two be quiet just while I do the news quickly, please? And then I'll move over to forced questions. Hello and welcome to the news. In tonight's top stories, Prime Lashnakia said the the chariot has proposed a seclusion of the Court Act, and Lashnakia had proposed the House resolution for proper debating procedures, of which Tiger Lowenducken has stated that he doesn't like the 6-hour part of it after the 24-hour debate period, of which would be proposed for a given member to second the bill. So for BJ's bill that was proposed on the 4th of the 8th of 2019, the act of misrepresenting public office has received scrutiny from the incumbent Speaker and Deputy Prime Minister, the Honourable Lashnakia, and has come under fire from Sir Libertatis Regalis, the incumbent Prime Minister, under the fact that it does not contribute to anything. Yes. Lashnakia pronounced in the previous interview that he would have minor qualms with the incumbent Minister of Foreign Affairs. You're not actually the Right Honourable. You're just the Honourable. Oh no, because you're Speaker. I call you Honourable as in Deputy Prime Minister because that's a higher role. And now, right. Alright. That is all for the news tonight. I will now go over to force questions, and we will see you in a small bit. I'm going to put on a cheese party ad while we interview. Hello and welcome to Force Questions tonight. Tonight we have. Tonight we are joined by the His Imperial Majesty Renegal and the Right Honourable Speaker of the House and Deputy Prime Minister Lashnakia. First of all, they will both give a opening statement before the things, and we go over to Lashnakia now with his opening statement.
Thank you for having me on. Pleasure to be here.
And Renegal, your opening statement.
Okay, this is pretty epic. It's amazing being here. Salibaic is the greatest person in existence. Yeah.
Right, thank you. Right, as you know, First Questions comprises of two sections: my personal questions and public questions. We're going to be starting by doing my personal questions, of which don't you know it me? I'm the host.
Oh no.
Oh no. Right, so we have my personal questions first, which has now basically what I'm going to ask you is this one is for both of you, okay? And you can both give an argument, and then you can debate, and then you can have a debate between yourself after each question. So my first question is, who do you think would be which person do you think would be the most qualified for Prime Minister? Lashnakia, go.
Out of who? Or
Right.
just in force?
In force.
Well, there are a lot of qualified people for Prime Minister. So I don't think that's the correct question. I think, but the quality you'd find most of the cabinet is qualified at the moment. I've previously been Prime Minister, so I'd consider myself qualified. The current Prime Minister is fairly qualified, and there's people in the House that are qualified, although most of them are ministers. So, but there are plenty of qualified people.
Okay. Right, I'm going to do a new question because clearly that didn't work. Right, if you have anything, what are your qualms with the current administration? Renegal, you.
Oh,
Do you have any qualms with the current administration?
I cannot comment.
Are you just gonna dodge the question
Basically.
until you get a question that's favourable to you?
In fairness, he's the founder. He can't appear biased.
I'm not asking him to be biased. I'm just saying, do you have any problems with anyone? You don't have to say their name. You just have to say the problem. You don't have to say, for example, Lashnakia is an idiot. You know.
Nay.
Okay. You, Lashnakia, go up. Do you have any qualms with the current administration?
Not really. I think as I said on my separate interview earlier, I think all the ministers are doing a good job. I think they're getting direction from me on what they're doing. So I don't think they're doing a bad job at all.
Thank you. Right, we're going to be moving over to citizens' questions now. Right, a first one for Renegal. What was going through your head when you joined Force? When you created Force, and what was going through your head, and what was it like when you created Force, Renegal?
So basically, when I created Force, I didn't really know what I was doing. I just kind of made it, and it was sort of a side thing. I didn't really become involved until like a few months.
A few months. You cut out early. You need to hold down push to
Oh,
talk for longer.
I Uh, I didn't really get involved until a few months into the creation of the region.
Interesting. Right, I have one for the both of you. uh, oh god, some of these are terrible. Mm,
Yeah.
Hurry up.
uh, what is your What is the best flag of any Force nation?
Yet again, I'm not
You're not gonna
updated with
comment,
flags, so I can tell you.
Venegal.
Obviously the Renegal flag. I mean, no one can be
How about the Libertatis flag?
really the European Union flag.
Doesn't he hate the European
That's
Union though?
disgusting. The European
Yeah,
Union flag is disgusting.
If he hates it so much, why? Like, I don't even understand. Um, After Force, what is your favorite nation states region? Last snack here.
After Force.
Yeah.
That would have to depend on the regions I've been in.
I'm implying Force is your number one.
Yes, you're correct. But I don't think giving a second one, I can't. I've been in a fair few that I've stayed in a while, so I don't think I can give a second one.
Renegal?
The only other region I've been in is the North Pacific, so I guess I'd have to say.
The North Pacific, okay. God. Here's another question. Can you tell who this one is from? What is New Legland? Renegal,
Um,
go.
New Legland is a manifestation of all our hopes and dreams for what we want to be. He is truly the most amazing creature to ever exist in Force.
New Legland 2020. New Legland 2020.
Lashnakia, what
Could
is
we
New
actually have
Legland? I'm giving you proper questions. I'm sorry, the
a
public are
Minister of Foreign
useless.
Affairs? A
Uh,
Minister of Foreign Affairs.
okay, I'll give you a proper question. Um,
Thank you.
oh god. What is your? Do you have like any mate? Right, no. It's like, so. Would you say there is a problem with lack of experience or lack of activity inside the house,
What now?
or now and of previous administrations?
What in the house? The previous house certainly had an issue.
Mhm.
Some previous houses, I think, but I don't think any. I don't think any house before the previous house has ever had such a deficit in experience and activity. The current one is absolutely fine.
Renegal?
Uh, certain houses have. Not gonna comment on exactly which ones, but yeah.
Oh come on, Rennie.
He's not going to be helpful, is he? This is the
Well, come
problem.
on. It's hard. It's not hard to see that the
Yeah.
house before us was. It had a lack
Terrible.
of people. It
What?
was inactive, and nothing really ever got done. So I don't see how you can't call that and at least
We've
question that one.
we've got an emergency
Even
question.
if you're trying to be unbiased.
We've got an emergency stupid question from New Legland.
Yeah.
Uh-oh.
It is: would you rather move to Syria than, in quotation marks, that shithole, Connecticut?
I have previously
No.
said I would rather move to Syria.
Renegal, your
I'm not going to
comment.
No comment. No comment.
Renegal.
No.
Sorry, this is too funny. Um,
Could I make a request?
yes.
Can we get some proper questions, please?
I'm doing them. It's just all the public ones are terrible. Not that I'm saying the first
Then
public
make
is
up ones on
bad.
the spot.
Oh god, yes.
Come on.
Who would you say which administration would you have said has been the most successful in force as so far?
The cabinet, you mean? You mean the cabinet?
As in, yeah, the cabinet administration.
I think it's unfair to single out one. Bearing in mind I'm a previous prime minister, so I'm going to be biased towards my own. So I don't think I can single one out
Well,
based on that.
I mean, Many would argue it's Libertatis that had the most successful.
I would say my administration was extremely successful. What
Malfeasance
ceremony
administration?
would that be?
Must be a
Oh shit. Is it working? What? What? No.
Oh, damn it.
My stream died and went offline. Yes. Wait, no, it's on live. No, wait, is it live? Is it live? Is it live? Yes, it's live again. My internet crashed. Oops. We are back. Sorry about that, folks.
Sally's connection is rubbish.
Don't deface my connection. Don't be angry.
Next question.
Next question. Are you supportive of the founder being politically neutral? Rashnakil.
Me? Yes.
Renego, you.
yeah.
Okay. The Renego's answer is no comment. Yes, no. That is 3 words today.
Renegal's like Jeb Bush, high energy.
Did you just refer to the founder as Jeb Bush?
Maybe. I think that's a big insult.
Renego.
So I think I should rescind that.
Renego, what is your opinion on this insult?
No.
Salibaic. Salibaic. Can we please move on to proper questions?
I'm thinking of them, like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Like, I gave you ones that were quite serious, like, do you have any qualms with faith? Right. Do you think the court system needs to be changed, and what would you change?
Renegal can go first.
Renego?
Yes, and I'd say what Chariot's doing is a step in the right direction.
I'd agree.
Are you gonna give us any more?
No.
That would be too much. We're not that good.
You're
We're not that
supposed to be
nice.
forced officials, like Jesus.
I am a fool. I know.
You're terrible. No,
Some people
no.
argue against that. You're not giving us good questions.
I'm sorry. I have to deal with terrible questions from the public, and it's quite hard to come up with questions on the spot, as you would know
Okay,
as an interviewer.
Here's a good question.
You
How many times did I just sneeze?
5. No.
Wow, correct.
Hey, do you have any interesting stories from when you were Prime Minister?
One word. New Legland. Oh, and the fact that, and the time where I muted Cherry in about 3 servers, at 3 channels, and Renegal was an idiot and created like a cabinet spam channel, and I ended up having to delete it.
Renego, did you create a cabinet spam?
No comment.
He did.
Renego, did you like the spam? Renego, what's your favorite food?
That is a hard question.
See, there's a real question for you. Leg Sona. What? Why are you posting Andrew Yang eating a turkey leg? Are you mentally okay?
It's epic.
Is that your serious
How dare
comment?
you criticize Yang? How dare you criticize Yang?
I didn't criticize Yang.
Well,
you
let's say this.
cretin.
Let's say this. With all due respect, you aren't actually coming up with any seriously good questions.
What is your opinion on the governmental reforms in the internal affairs for territories? And would you have done anything differently to the current internal affairs rights? And what do you have any qualms with it, or what would you do differently?
Do I have any qualms? So what do I think of the progress
For the
Internal Affairs
territorial
Minister of
reforms. Yes.
I think it's a step in the right direction. I think obviously we've had several problems with the territories, notably Hart, which has been pretty much impossible to grow back the population. But I think it's a step in the right direction. It's a sign of activity in the ministry. Oh, by the way, Renegal, before Sally points us out, you still need to update those documents. What was the other question? Do I have any qualms with the ministry?
Yeah.
Not particularly.
Renegal, you.
Same.
You just the same.
Right, next time, for serious questions, you need to actually make Renegal answer first,
Okay, I'm gonna
because
make.
otherwise you just copied me.
Okay, I will make Renegal ask this time. Do you
Here we
think
go.
there is a lack of standard in the current output of progress reports released by the government per ministry?
Answer this.
Answer.
Uh,
Come on, you can give your opinion on this.
Do you think there's a lack of standard?
I think it should be released at some set interval. Yes.
No, that's not what I'm
That
asking.
wasn't the question.
Stop dodging the question. Not being a politician, please.
Rennie, let me. Right, Rennie. The question was, do you think there should be more substance or more things going on in the ministries based on the progress reports that were released?
Yeah, yeah. And I could actually single out ministry.
Which ministries
No,
would you
we weren't
single?
asking you to.
Which ministries would you single out though?
Um, One involves
Foreign affairs.
leg lands.
Is there anything about any other department apart from foreign affairs?
I think
Actually, yeah, the rest are pretty good. Foreign affairs
I
could
think
use some more stuff going on.
Have you seen the internal affairs one? I'm sorry, but like, I know I'm defacing my own
I
department,
think
but
can I answer this question?
yes, you can.
So first of all, it's a symptom of summer. We were expecting a decrease in activity in the cabinet as well. But previously progress reports have been substantial. So it's a symptom of summer. But I think we've done well considering the circumstances. And I would agree the Foreign Affairs Ministry is one that probably needs to improve. But I think it's unfair to single out them. So I think all of the other departments are pretty much fine.
Do you? What is your opinion on the current working of the defense ministry? Would you say that you go more for a defense policy and a raiding policy, or more just neutral?
I think that's up to the Ministry of Defence to decide. I don't particularly have a judgment on it. Somehow I was previously Minister of Defence. I don't know much about it. I don't know much about the. I just let the Minister of Defence do his work. He knows what he's doing. He's doing an excellent job considering his circumstances. Um, I think that's up for the Minister of Defence and the Prime Minister and maybe even the Foreign Affairs Minister to decide.
Renegal, you.
Yeah, it's functioning quite well actually, and I'd go for an independent policy because that's actually what I put in place.
There
Renegal
has
saying something productive.
there has been mentions before of the defence policies conflicting with what the Ministry of Foreign Affairs have wanted before, especially after the 10KI disaster. Do you have any thoughts on this, Renegal?
Okay, so an independent policy is acceptable to the value regions. Leader regions will accept it. Neutral regions will accept it. Defender regions sometimes will accept it, but some of them won't. So I think we're probably getting the most benefit out of having this policy.
Lashnakia.
Sorry, what was the question?
Do you have does have you the independent policy we currently have as conflicted with foreign affairs before, especially after the 10KI disaster? What is your opinion on this?
Well, I'd first of all like to say that Renegal just dodged the entire question. Um, Second of all, I think
No,
it's
not at all. Okay.
you didn't reply on the confliction between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Ministry of Defence.
That is not something I should be getting involved in.
Well, this is the cabinet.
No, this is SBC News.
Sorry. I think to have differences in the cabinet is probably a good thing. I think on this specific thing, it's important to be in discussion about it, and if there is a confliction about it, I think that's fine. I think there needs to be differences about a serious thing like this. So I don't have a problem with it, and providing we can come to a consensus, which I think we can, considering the two people involved, I think we'll be fine.
As you have,
Renegal, how do you feel about the? No, go ahead.
uh, sorry, I got distracted there for a second. As you know, there was the federal government negotiations not that long ago. What is your comment on it now? And what was your comment of it then compared to now?
Okay, can I start?
Sure.
My comment on it now and my comment on it previously is the same as it was. It threatens the independence of force, I think. I don't think we need any involvement in it, and I think the previous organisations we've been in like this have not helped us at all. There's no reason to join it. It really, and it threatens our sovereignty. So no, my
Renegal,
stance remains the same.
your comment?
Yeah, I have the exact same views as Lashnaki on this.
So do I. This doesn't seem totally non-biased at all against the Chariot and New Lakeland's opinion. Ahem.
Well, then, ask the defence secretary and the foreign secretary's opinion.
What?
Like,
They'll
get
never
them to
come
comment.
on this news though. You are aware of this.
No, you don't need to. You don't need to get the comment. You
No,
don't
I
need to get
have
them
their
to come on.
comments.
Just ask for their comment.
No,
Ask for their comment.
I have the comments. I just can't release them because they're cabinet officials. Well, not cabinet officials.
Well, ask for their opinion out of cabinet. You know, I'm not being difficult. I'm just.
I know.
Right, can we?
Yes, moving on. Oh God, let me find something. What is your opinion, Renegal? And because we know Lashnaki has previously, what is your opinion on Sir Sword BJ's bill that he has proposed, Renegal?
Let me check.
You haven't read the bill.
Well, Renegal's been off for a fair bit, so it doesn't.
I don't even. He's the founder. At least read the bills occasionally.
Renegal, just a warning. There's about a 5-page argument on it between Liv and Sword. So.
Oh yeah. I saw this.
You saying there's been a fight? There's been a rift in cabinet between Sir Sword BJ and Sir Libertatis Regalis.
No,
Is that what you've just said?
No,
You said there's a rift between them in the government.
Okay,
This
so
is Sally.
I
This
would
is
not
Sally
say
twisting.
this. And
Oh,
also, I would
oh,
say Sword BJ's bill quite possibly. Well, actually, we don't have freedom.
We don't have freedom of speech.
It's, um, I'd be a little worried about it. It could possibly lead to further things.
Renegal. Renegal.
I have to reread
Article
the brief.
B.
I read it at one point.
Article B. Article B 4 and 5. Gives you the freedom of press and the freedom of expressing one's views. I think that counts as some sort of freedom of speech. It's not full freedom of speech, but.
Well, I mean, I've seen arguments from Libertatis Regalis saying that if you're a government official, you could just claim to have your own media source. You used SBC as an example, for saying that I could say as an ambassador, about something about a region, which could deface force, but it's freedom of the press, because I said it on the press.
Yeah.
I think it would be okay actually because it's freedom to express your political views, not like
Oh, that's.
any.
Depends if it's forced. I mean, could you consider it forced political views? I think that's a bit vague.
I
What
wouldn't
political
call.
views?
I would not call. If you're actually misrepresenting and lying about someone in office, then that is not a political view. That is just making something.
Yeah, I'd agree with that view. Um,
I'm
can I
not
just
saying
go back
whether
to?
I
Can I just
agree
go
or
back?
not with this bill, but I'm saying that it's probably constitutional.
Okay.
Would you
Can I just
veto
go
it
back
though?
to? I hope you
It really depends on how much public support there was for it.
First of all, I think Lib is preparing to veto it. I know that. So it would then go down to the House to override it. As Speaker, I certainly wouldn't support an override. Um, I'd also like to go back to Sally's silly twisting my words comment. Um, right, first of all, there's no rift. It's a disagreement. Second of all, it's not in the cabinet, so don't twist my words.
It was sort of half a joke. I was acting like the Sun.
I know it's a
I
joke.
was being the
I'm
Daily
half joking.
Mail. This is what the Daily Mail does.
The
Look.
Daily
Okay.
Mail, the greatest newspaper in all of the
Yes.
UK.
No, this is
Um.
on record, by the way. Renegal supports the Daily Mail. Right, this is going across force.
No, it's actually a lie.
Can we
Joking. Okay.
do we have anything further to say on this topic?
On vetoing Sir Sword
Renegade?
BJ's bill.
I think we should probably move on. I
Right.
think we both.
Moving on. What is your opinion on Lashnaka's House resolution on debate procedures, Renegal?
Yeah.
No, here we go.
Yeah is
Well,
not an answer.
I'll say to Renegal why I brought it in, and that's because the fact that, and you brought in the procedure to make sure that every time when there's something seconds, it goes immediately to vote. However, that doesn't work, and that's shown with the recent House bill. No, it was voted in favour of pretty much unanimously. Nobody really knew the little thing that Lib pointed out, and that was because it was seconded immediately, and we didn't get any debate on it. So I think at least wait 24 hours before a second and have debate time. And that's what the House is technically for. So
Technically,
I'd like to hear Renegal's
yeah.
like to hear Renegal's proper view on it.
Renegal's view.
Uh, okay, so the point of it, people are supposed to show restraint in this. They're supposed to wait to second it, or at least wait to vote on it,
Yeah, but the
until they actually
incoming
know.
House members don't do that, and generally having restraint on it is not a rule. So whether it's a, I don't know, etiquette or something, it's still not being followed, and that's evident. So whether they should be showing restraint or not, they're not shown.
Um, I I'd like to suggest that you add some sort of debate period on bills, but I don't know if that would conflict with
That's
existing procedures.
that's what
You
I've
might have
tried
to
to
appeal that.
attempt with the House resolution. I probably should specify a 24-hour debate period, but
Yeah.
that's what I've tried to do with my.
Uh,
Renegade?
the forced constitution. The House has the right to repeal as per a House law, technically. But there has been speculations before that is about it being legal due to Article D of the Constitution, 2.1 of Article D of the text of the Constitution is the highest law, and then 3.2, which says the House bills can do anything except contradict the Constitution. Opinions?
How does that go
I
into
mean, it
repealing?
can't contradict the Constitution. So, like, you can't repeal the
Repealing
Constitution.
House bills does not contradict the Constitution. I don't see your point here.
No, I'm saying if you wanted to change something on the Constitution, it cannot contradict with it. But there's a legal grey area. Would you say that's true?
No, because the House has to go through an amendments process, which is defined in the Constitution.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't see your.
Okay,
view
I
on
did.
that.
Oopsie. Oops. Oh, you've
F.
added a bit. This proves how long ago I actually checked the Constitution, because it was last edited on the 4th of May.
You know when I last checked the Constitution?
When?
1 hour ago.
Well, whoop-de-doo. So
Right, can we have the next question?
yes, let me think of something. Oh God. No, but like I have to think of something. Let me go to something in the Forest Grand Plaza. Do you think? Well, as you know, there has been said in the past that the people would hold a vote to remove Tiger Lowenducken from the House.
Very
Why?
slow.
Why do you think nobody ever put forward that motion?
Because he was impeached, and people thought that he had the right to serve out his term and demonstrate that he was actually capable of showing that he knew his stuff and he could be a respectable member of the House.
Yeah. Um,
Okay, that wasn't biased. I was just trying to find some.
I think there was at the time I was shocked because there was even a suggestion of removing his citizenship. I'm not going to call out Lowe's or the person that suggested that or even implied that, but that's a shocking. Making a joke is not is not a crime, and I think there were people saying remove his citizenship, which I was absolutely shocked at.
Apart from the courts and the Constitution, which you'd like to change, is there anything else in the Constitution you'd like to fix with legal loopholes and things?
I know
Which
there are
has
loopholes. Sometimes it takes a while discovering them. I'm not exactly a a person who spots them straight away, but there are certainly loopholes in the Constitution, as Renegal will tell you, and Renegal knows this better. He wrote the damn thing. So, um,
would you
but
change
yes,
anything?
if we find change, sorry.
What what I asked was, is there any like legal? Is there any parts of the Constitution you change which has loopholes in it apart from the courts, which has already been previously mentioned?
Um, you could make it less vague. I can't comment right now because I can't think of a legal loophole on at the top of my head, and I'm not willing to go to the website at the second, so I can't think of a legal loophole on the top of at the top of my head. I'm sure there are some, but Renegal might be a good person to comment on this.
Renego, your comment?
There definitely are. There's so many of them, but I'm on mobile right now and not really in a position to look for them. Sorry.
Interesting. Ah. Um, there has been talks before of citizenship requirements. What is your opinion on citizenship requirements, Renego?
Okay, so there's a part of the Constitution that says anyone who wants to become a citizen must apply for it. So that could be a loophole. Um, it
Oh,
also
that's yeah,
allows the
because
House to
nobody ever
establish
applies for
rules.
citizenship.
Well, the idea of it is that the House can establish rules to make requirements for citizenship. So admissibility requirements.
I mean, what sort of requirements would we be talking about here?
It's really up to you. It's not something I get to decide.
Well, I can't. A lot of regions I've been in have required um, you to be in the World Assembly for citizenship. That's not something I want to implement here in force because we have nowhere near enough World Assembly members um, to, but that wouldn't work. We'd have a massive decrease. But
See, honestly, in the current state, I like how it works because we allow every resident to be a citizen. We check IPs to make sure that people don't vote twice, and then if there's a legitimate security threat, we impose stuff like period
I
of time you
think
have to have held
I
residency
think
to vote.
I think the point you've made is good because nobody applies for the citizenship, so it might be actually unless you consider posting a link to your nation or even just coming into the region applying.
Yes. There has been talks before of a media policy, as was announced by the Ministry of Internal Affairs, as you would know, about having Discord channels in Force and having a separate category with channels for news in the Force Discord. What is your opinion on this, Renego?
I just don't want more Discord channels. See, if there were a lot of media channels made, we'd have like 12 different media channels,
But
and most of them would never be
you can
used.
restrict them. You can create rules for them.
But most of them would never be used. I'm not a person who really likes
Well,
inactive.
if something is not being used for a week or 2 weeks, you can delete the channel. That's not a problem, and you can cite the reason for it as inactivity.
But wouldn't that could be seen by somebody as a restriction of the freedom of the press.
That's the question I was expecting. But if we state in a media policy rule that a certain amount of time, if it's inactive, then it's not really a restriction of freedom of the press if you're not using it.
So, are you in favour of having a category with different media channels?
Yes, and by the way, the only reason Renegal doesn't want more channels is he can see every single one. We can't, so...
You could just, close the category and mute it.
Yeah, you can close the category, so I don't think this is that big an issue. It's just Renegal being fussy.
I like how his comment is, shh, don't question my logic. We will question your logic. This is the media.
Renegal has no logic.
There's this massive art category I need to clean up at some point.
A massive
Why
what
don't
category?
you do it?
Archives.
Yeah, basically, my plan is to take a log of every old cabinet channel and then put it somewhere on the forums, only restricted to cabinet members.
Can I have permissions on the forums yet?
Yes,
Yeah,
Renegal, do you know? Renegal,
Uh,
do you know Weston Cusatus earlier was still rolled as force prosecutor? So I think there needs to be a slight
Update.
update.
Well, Lashnakia was rolled, and I asked Libertatis to do it because I know he was an admin on the forums, and he said he couldn't do it, but did it for everyone else.
He can do it. He just doesn't. I just suspect he doesn't want to, or he forgot.
He has the admin accounts.
He could delete the forums if he wanted, technically.
Yeah, he owns all of that.
Renego would be triggered though.
Could we
move on?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. Let me think of something.
Okay.
Shut up. Do you think there should be any rights of any?
No.
Any rights taken away or or added to the Bill of Rights in force?
No.
No. What do you mean? No?
I said oh no.
I can't remember the Bill of Rights off the top of my head.
Do you want me to tell you them? The right to fair trial.
Yeah, go ahead.
The right to protest freely. The right to hold public office. The right to freedom of the press. And the right to freely express and hold one's own political views.
Well,
do you think
the only one I can directly think of off the top of my head that could be added, and is a realistic thing to be added, is the right to freedom of speech. However, sometimes we've been sort of glad that we didn't have that in, and it can be quite. I don't want to sound shocking here, but it can be quite a good. And they do have right to freedom of press and right to freedom of expressing their views. I don't see why we need to add that in. Renegal, your thoughts? That's nice. Nice one.
Yeah, I would agree with him. Also, when it comes to muting people,
yes, there you go.
Also, you proposed a bill once, Renego, which conflicted with the media of the press, which banned libel in the press.
Was that the right to the truth?
Oh God, yes, that amazing bill that I voted against. was voted down by the courts. Do you have any opinions on that, or what would you would you have that policy now if the courts didn't strike it down?
Um,
Well, can
I
I?
okay, you can go.
Well, can I say it definitely violated the Constitution, and Renegal stated that. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
It definitely violated the Constitution.
There you go.
Okay, so I'll give you an example. In the US, there's freedom of the press, but libel laws do exist. So I think it really depends on what degree you consider that to apply.
Well, yes, but would you still have that policy now if the courts didn't strike it down, which the courts basically ruled in favour of complete free press?
Yeah, so I don't really think it's needed at the moment. When I did propose it, it was a time when there was a lot of misinformation going
Yeah.
around, and it was kind of needed. But now it's okay.
In
Okay-ish. You still have crazy blocks, you know.
Crazy Blocks. Why don't I have a question, Crazy Blocks? What would you say to him now?
Nothing.
No,
I
you.
would block him like I have already.
Report
I
no.
would say no, you.
That's all you say.
No,
F.
it's not all I say,
Yes, it is.
because I've just said something different to no.
The red iceberg of Elysium. Sorry. Sorry, I got someone sent me some anti-Elysium propaganda.
Can we?
Yeah, sorry. Thinking of the questions. Because I am the Parliament unsupplant. It's some French for you.
That's a really expressive French accent for a Scot.
Oh, but no.
Oui, oui, oui.
And that's how how you get sued.
Yes.
Tell MS no. What? What did you say?
Freedom
Next
of the
question.
band.
You wanna ban freedom? Radical support banning freedom, everybody.
No. Can you hear? Okay. I said
Next
freedom of
question.
the band.
Archive. What?
Next question.
I'm looking for something. Calm down, mister.
F.
I'm
Oh,
Mister now. Oh my goodness. I thought I was right honourable, you know.
you're no longer right honourable to SBC. SBC is superior news.
So
Better.
would be nice. Renegade.
Um, do you have any comments on Venegal, Lashnakia?
Um. Um. I think he's a good founder. And when he goes, he'll be a really difficult void to fill. And no, you.
Venegal, do you have any comments on Lashnakia?
Uh, he's a good citizen. He's in good standing. He has some good ideas. Yeah.
Literally, you sounded
God,
both so awkward. I have to say,
it was an awkward question, Sally.
that's the point. Have you ever heard of what the news does? It makes people feel uncomfortable and pries on their private life.
Uh,
Oh, I mean, it
Donald
oh,
did.
Trump is
it's
perfectly
horrible.
happy.
If SEC News actually pried into people's real private lives.
Oh, I could find information if I wanted to. I won't. Hey,
Uh, may, may,
liver
may,
tatus. No.
may we please? Do
Do
we
you have
have
any
any?
questions for Renegal?
Me?
Yes.
Yes, actually. It's something I've asked him in private before, but um, when I know you eventually plan to quit and leave, you're not going to be here forever, let's say that, who would you consider a good successor? And what would the criteria be?
Okay, so I will look back in our DMs because I actually have some good criteria listed there. I don't think there's anyone right now who stands out particularly. There's a lot of people who are potential candidates, but no one who's like clearly it.
What about Sir Libertatis Regalis?
As I said, no one
Me?
stands out at the moment.
Renego, do you have any questions for Lashnakia? Renego.
Um, I don't think. Hold on.
This is a dying
You
interview.
plan to run in how many future elections do you plan to run in?
Um, I'm definitely running in October. I know that. January is going to be a three-way primary in TIP, which I know. I could consider running then. It really depends on my time. I don't intend to stay for more than year, 2 years, but I might run in some more. Yeah.
Who are these three candidates that will be running in January in the TIP debates?
Okay, so one of them, tip by the way, is a really cringy way of saying it. So, but I know Loomberg is intending to run. My current primary contender. I know that you are considering a run. I also know that Libertatis is certainly running, and I'm undecided on whether I will consider running. I don't know if anyone else will add to the candidacy. I know New Legland might run in October as a joke candidate, so he may do something in January. Who knows?
Interesting. Sorry. Would you endorse anybody in the Imperial debates in January?
Should I not run? I will certainly consider endorsing somebody. I will consider endorsing somebody should I not run, yeah.
Interesting. Um, I know Venegal has to be politically neutral, so it's quite hard to find politically neutral things. What do you, Venegal? What do you find appealing about the new culture policy of all their new things, such as the sci-fi writing contest and the art contest?
I like that they're actually doing something for once. That's a change from some pre.
Um. um. Anything else?
Uh, I mean that answers the question.
Yeah. What do you feel about this stupid Rickroll contest?
I don't
Yeah, I actually
genuinely know what it is.
I got extremely close to rickrolling the chariot, but then his internet was slow and he exited out.
What even is it? What even is it?
I mean,
What do I have to do?
Roll something.
I know how to Rickroll Loomberg very easily, but it's really uncreative.
Hey, he's the one that did the contest. Shh.
I didn't do the contest.
No, he's.
I know. He's supposed to be trying Rickrolled. I know how to do it. Just play during the Imperial debates. Just play, Rick Astley.
Rick Astley. No. Rick Astley.
What about DAPM picks? Oh, who would you pick for Deputy Prime Minister in October if you win?
I have a shortlist. It includes most of the current cabinet members.
What about New
may
Legland?
include somehow. Um, checkmate. New Legland, with all due respect to him, is not on my list mainly because I want to keep him for the moment at MOFA. Um, I personally have preferences over him for that position. That's not anything against him. I just have preferences over him for that.
Anyone else? Well, apart from
Who
any
do I
specific
have on my?
candidates you have that stand out?
I have to say my opponent in the primaries and the Minister of Culture, Bloomberg, is standing out to me at the moment. I have a replacement I am considering should I appoint him. Um, so I do like the Minister of Communications and the Minister of Defence. The Minister of Internal Affairs, I'm sure, will be pleased to hear this. I'm I'm basically keeping my options open. Who knows? There could be somebody new who comes in that I really like. But
Interesting.
I think we need a fresh change in that sort of position, in these leadership positions, because I think we've become too much of an establishment region, where the establishment is always the one that's. So I think we need somebody sort of newish in that role.
Um, there's been asking in, especially for ages from Defense or Triggerbot Renegal, when will a Triggerbot arrive? Triggerbot when has been the question.
I don't know. Maybe.
Renegal, I've got a good question. When are you going to update those docs?
Yes.
Is this just roast Renegal hour?
Uh,
Renegal, when are you gonna update the territory reforms?
Let me see. I have to. Okay, I have 6, 7. Yeah, that's. I think only 9 documents to update. That's not that.
What is your opinion on the lack of RP going on, Lashnakia?
Um, First of all, I don't RP much, so I couldn't tell you if there is actually a lack of RP going on. It looks fairly active to me. I mean, you play RP more. Maybe you should. Maybe you could tell me. Is there a lack of it going on?
Well, that's what I'm asking you. Renegal,
I
your
think.
opinions?
I think.
It was for a bit, but then I pinged everyone, and it's gotten.
Well, you
I think.
upset everyone.
You updated the policy things. I think one of the things that I stopped me playing RP in particular was the fact of the annexations, and it really did annoy me. I can try today to annex something, and it would get blocked for no, and you can block it for no reason, and it just forces people into war, which I don't want. So I think I think it should actually cost something to annex as well, and I think there needs to be harsher thing on objecting.
There has been talks, especially from certain members, such as Elysium, from nuke rules when.
That lovely person.
Nuke rules when?
Nuclear. So I know we are trying to consider adding nuke rules in the roleplay committee, which I will admit is less than active at the current minute. We tried reforming the roleplay committee to include more new members. There are some people you won't really have heard of in there, and we deliberately did that to try and generate activity. It unfortunately hasn't quite paid off. There are a few more active members, but it hasn't paid off in terms of activity in the committee. And I'm personally wondering if we just disband the committee, because I don't see it working anymore. Renegade?
Who pinged me?
I
Excuse
did.
me, Renegal. I do not
Re,
care about your country GDP
can you
stats.
Renegade? What do you think about the roleplay committee, and should we consider disbanding it in favour of either merging it into culture completely or adding the roleplay ministry again?
I definitely don't think that we should get rid of it because
Well,
When I was in the
it's
North
not
Pacific,
working. It's not
when I
working.
was
It's not been working
yeah,
for
yeah.
ages.
In the North Pacific, they have a very active RP, and they
They
tried.
also have 6,000 members.
Hold on, it's still a similar thing. Um, basically, what
6,000 members.
they integrated their roleplay committee into the Ministry of Culture, and it went
That's what we've done.
very badly. Let's just say it went very badly because the Ministry of Culture had no idea how RP worked, and yeah, that's basically the
I
problem. So they
think,
built an RP committee.
Renegal, well, part of the problem is the fact that I've never really got why you had the idea of um, making it so it had to be non-roleplay members who were in the roleplay committee, because
It's supposed to
people
be
that are in the roleplay are more likely to have a clue about what the roleplay is.
the purpose was for it to be less bias. That's basically it. It had gotten fairly biased in the previous.
Well, a fairly biased is better than no activity, which was what we currently got. I just don't. I think we should either disband the thing and maybe remake the Ministry of Roleplay, or completely merge it into culture. Which, okay, maybe I take your point. That might not work well. Or or you should scrap it and make sure that members of the roleplay are the ones in the roleplay committee. Obviously, keep members that are productive that are currently in the roleplay committee that are not in the roleplay. But I think the restriction is a bit too harsh, mainly because people that are in the roleplay know what the roleplay is, whether they're biased or not.
Renego? Renego?
There
Yeah,
go.
I basically agree with that. That's fair.
Um, what's another question about RP? Uh, do you think... oh god. Um, do you think the moderation team's effective in RP?
So who's it again? Is it Lib, Sabir,
And me and
Renegal?
Renego.
So, first of all, Renegal made a massive mistake when he fired me. Um,
How do you know that?
Second of all, um, how do I mean that? He fired me because I disagreed with something he said. Secondly,
Are you saying Renego's a dictator?
maybe. No,
Renego,
no.
Renego's tyrannical. Everybody, this is across the news. Everybody, emergency.
If I wanted to give
Um,
you a dictatorship, I could
Sorry, what
make
was the
it.
question? Oh yeah, how is the moderation team doing? Um, I have no idea. I'm not often in RP. I know Renegal does a fair bit. I know Renegal's good
Renego,
with it.
what's your opinion of the
Um,
moderation team?
I would.
It's fine at the
I
moment.
hadn't finished. I
No.
had not finished. Um, I don't see. There's one particular admin which I don't see doing a lot, and I don't see involved in the RP. Not going to name them, but
Libertatis. Mm.
anyway, Renegal.
Well, yeah, it's working fine. They respond when they need to. There's occasionally activity in the moderator chat. Yeah.
If you like.
Renego, would you support removing non-RPers off the map?
Oh, that's an interesting question. I have considered that in the past. I'm still considering it.
Now, is that non-IPers who don't RP full stop, or is that non-IPers who have previously role played but don't do much?
As in people that are not registered RPers.
Yeah. So all non-RPers.
Why would registered RPers be on the map in the first?
Get two people to... No. Uh, is anybody going to say anything?
I just did. Why would registered RPers be on the map in the first place?
Ask Renego.
Yeah, I already.
I know. Just so I'm dealing with two conversations at once. Not
Deal
include.
with one conversation at once.
Well, I'm sorry. Elysium's DMing me about how he wants to be on SBC.
Ignore Elysium. Don't need to listen to him. Okay, can we go to the next question, boss?
Next question. Ta 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 ta. Do you want a meme question or a proper question? I want to give you a meme one just to lighten the mood a bit. Will you run for PM of England under the Brexit Party? Renegal.
No.
Lashnakia.
Sorry, what was the question? I misheard.
Would you run as a Brexit Party candidate?
I'm not old enough.
If you could.
And no. Mainly because it splits the right vote.
Do you support Andrew Yang?
Absolute.
Sicko.
Absolute sicko mode. This is the one. Who was the best Prime Minister? That's not Lashnakia.
Hold on, I was the Prime Minister.
Who was
Oh,
the best?
sorry. Oh, no, okay. We've only had a few, and we've only had a few active ones, so if you exclude me, which is fair because you're asking me the question, I think you'd probably have to say Lib.
Is that an endorsement of Libertat? No.
No, that's me answering your question.
Yeah, I know. All I want for Christmas is
Renegal. Renegal.
Renegal's not going to comment because then he'd be politically biased.
No, ask Renegal to comment and see what he does.
Renegal, what's your comment on the best Prime Minister excluding Lashnakia? Who's the best founder of Force, Renegal?
That is a hard question.
Okay,
Do you have any regrets about anything you've done in your previous political career in Force?
being a bit of an idiot previously.
Renegal?
Political career. No.
Renegal barely has a political career here.
What
He's
was
not
your
allowed to
biggest
comment
mistake
anything.
what was your biggest mistake as founder you've done?
Renegal makes no mistake.
The Constitution is a mistake.
I fully.
Do you want to ask me a question like that?
What, me?
No, ask me a question like that.
I ask you a question like what I asked Renegal.
Yes.
Okay, what was your biggest mistake as in your career in Force?
There are a few of them. I think resigning a bit more. I think switching from Minister of Foreign Affairs to Minister of Defence was a huge mistake. Because I was pretty happy in the Foreign Department. I don't know why I switched, and that was at my request, so it wasn't Lib's fault. There have been plenty of mistakes that I've made. Generally, being an idiot was part of it, but you know.
What is your opinion on political parties? I mentioned it in the previous interview with you, Lashnakia, about creating political parties like the NWE does. What would be your opinion on that, Renegal?
I prefer the current system.
No, Renegal.
I would like parties to.
Let me just clarify, because Sally didn't really clarify. So there would be set political parties there already. So, for instance, you could have the Imperial Party set there, not created, and some other party set there, not created, not created, just set there so people are free to join.
I prefer people just being able to make any party they want.
But that's not happening.
Well, I mean, making parties isn't necessarily going to make people join parties.
I mean, true, but it would increase
Well, yes, but if
political
you set
participation.
if you set them there, you're more likely to get them. If they're there for you and you don't have to bother creating them and they're more accessible, you're not gonna, you will get more participation in them.
Very true. Going.
The headline for this interview should be Lashnakia destroys Renegade.
That's not the interview. It's just called Salibaic Live.
No, but the headline after this interview, the main headline should be Lashnakia destroys.
What for when when the FF reports on this?
Absolutely.
Oh my god.
Destroys liberal Renegal.
Yes! Liberal Renegal gets defeated by Ben Shapiro style Lashnakia.
That's an
list.
insult. You cannot accuse anyone as being as bad as Ben Shapiro.
Renegal, you missed me
That's
calling
just-
Lashnakia Ben Shapiro.
No, please, just no. That's disgusting. It's disgusting.
You're the Nigel Farage of Force. No. You're the Lashnakia smashes libtard Renegal with facts and logic.
Sounds about right.
No,
I think we should...
Lashnakia is the Theresa May of Force.
Nay.
Theresa May did nothing.
What about the Boris Johnson?
No.
What about the David Cameron?
Ew.
What about the Lashnakia?
What about Lashnakia is epic is the title.
Okay.
Epic Hoot Lashnakia defeats unepic Hoot Renegal. Yeah. I have one last question. Renegal,
Yeah.
did you commit voter fraud in Salibaic?
No.
Did you?
Oh, of course he says that.
And this
Can we
doesn't
get
even
one last
relate.
serious question?
No.
Could we get one last serious question, please?
Yes. If there was anything you'd change about the current administration, what would you change?
Probably
Make
a
it
little.
more epic.
You get more activity
Yes, true.
and probably more proactiveness.
And another one, how do you plan to get more people into Force?
Stan.
You need to
That are active and will talk on Discord.
you need to engage with them, offer them opportunities, and when they join, just don't isolate them.
Just see what I said in the cabinet announcements. That's kind of what I want people to do.
We are not
That's not
allowed
one.
to look at the cabinet.
You can look at the latest announcement. I give you
it's
permission
sort
to
of-
review.
it's
Can
sort
I
of what
read?
I just said.
Can I read it
It's sort
aloud
of what I
without me
just-
getting done for treason?
Yes, the very last post in cabinet
I know.
announcements. Yeah.
I've seen it before. I could say them all out, but then I'd get done for treason. If you see a new nation in force, do the government a favour. Welcome them on RMB. Send them a telegram. Engage with them. Talk about what their interests are. Get them on Discord. Talk to them. Get them involved.
Okay, you're just making stuff up now.
No. I just summarised
Read
it.
the full thing. Here. If you see a new nation arrive in force, do us a favor. Welcome them on the RMB and send them a telegram. If they respond to either of those, continue engaging with them and see what their interests are. If any of their interests exist in things we offer, direct them to those things so they can get involved.
And
Grand claps.
get them on Discord, please.
Okay.
Well, get them on Discord
Don't
because
be Elysium Forest. Don't be Elysium Forest.
don't be Elysium.
Or Corona.
Be New Lakeland. Well, okay, shush. Right, yeah. Well, that's all we have time for tonight. I'd like to thank you for my guests coming on tonight as Renegal and Lashnakia. Give them an applause. Applaud.
I've been pushed to talk. I can't.
There we go. And I'll see you all on the 14th for the Imperial Party debates with Lashnakia, and hopefully Renegal will be watching in the audience, asking questions as we go along, and we'll be seeing Limburg there. I thank you and good night. Play some tune. And tonight, let's play the news. Bah! Hello and welcome to the news tonight. Tonight's top stories. Sir Sword BJ proposes bill in House. No, that's not really news. The Chariot proposes seclusion of the Court Act, and Lashnakia has proposed a resolution for debate periods inside the House. We also previously had an interview with Lashnakia and Renegal, and an individual one with Renegal, for which they stated their opinions, which you can see on when this is officially uploaded as a video and no longer a live stream. And that's all from SBC News, and that's all from SBC tonight. I'd like to thank for everyone who'd watched tonight, and that we will be live again on the 14th with the Imperial Party debates, and maybe on the 13th if we have more news. I'd like to again thank everyone, and especially Lashnakia and Renegal, who participated in the debates, and that thank you all for watching, and good night.